In second part of reproduction in organism, in second part of sexual reproduction in organism, mainly we have to discuss different types of asexual reproduction. In that, in previous part, as we listed the binary fission, mainly we see in case of unicellular organisms under favorable condition like a euglena, amoeba, paramecium, on that one. Then under unfavorable condition, one more type of asexual reproduction we see, that is multiple fission. We see mainly in case of Entamoeba histolytica, then Plasmodium vivax, which causes malaria. Then at the same time, one more type of asexual reproduction we see in case of Hydra, yeast, that is what we called the budding. Then under unfavorable condition, in case of freshwater sponges, gemmules formation is take place in case of sponge. Like that, there are two types of spores produced in case of organisms. One, we have zoospores, a motile spores found in case of Chlamydomonas. And another one, conidiospores. These we see in case of the Penicillium notatum. Like that, the plenty of non-sexual part we call vegetative part of a plant body helps for a reproduction that we call vegetative reproduction. That includes stem tuber of potato, then rhizome of turmeric, then bulb of onion, stolon of strawberry, upset of eichhornia, leaf buds of bryophyllum, then bulbils of agave. These are the some asexual reproductive bodies we called a vegetative reproductive bodies helps for vegetative reproduction. All these different types of asexual mode of reproduction we have to study in detail. If you take the binary fission, the name itself indicates bi means two. Fission refers to splitting or multiplication. That is opposite to fusion. Fission, splitting, fusion is opposite to the fission word. Here, what happens? Single parental cell divides into two daughter cells. The single parental cell divides into two daughter cells by mitosis. That what we call the name binary fission. Generally, binary fission is seen in case of most of the unicellular organisms. For example, amoeba under favorable condition multiplies by binary fission. Paramecium under favorable condition multiplies by binary fission. Euglena, even the bacteria, every 20 minutes it divides into two by binary fission. Therefore, binary fission is a most common characteristic of most of the unicellular organisms. Secondly, it takes place under favorable condition, good condition. The mode of asexual reproduction is unicellular. Then most important thing here, the both nuclear division and cytoplasmic division takes place simultaneously in case of binary fission. Then the parental cell itself divides into two. Hence, no death of parent, because that parent cell itself gives two daughter cells by binary fission without death of parent. Hence, all binary fission showing organisms are immortal. That means never leads into death. They are immortal in nature. If you take another mode of asexual reproduction, multiple fission. If you take multiple fission, single parental cell divides into many daughter cells by multiple fission. We seen very rarely in case of once again unicellular organisms under unfavorable condition. Therefore, it is a major difference between binary fission and multiple fission. Secondly, here first nuclear division is take place during multiple fission, followed by cytoplasmic division. Then one more most important thing is during multiple fission, the parental cell leads into death. Hence, unlike the binary fission organism, the multiple fission showing organisms always leads into death. Then after a multiple fission, the residue is left as the waste material during cell division. Hence, if you take here, it is a single nucleus is there. This nucleus divides into many nuclei by nuclear division, then followed by a cytoplasmic division. As a result, many daughter cells are produced, and these daughter cells produced later by the cytoplasmic division. Then parental cell ruptures, leads into death, and releases the daughter cell with the leftover material. That leftover material we call the name residue, and these cells what we call the name daughter cells. In such a way, multiple fission takes place in case of most of the unicellular organism under unfavorable condition. The best example for the Plasmodium, then Entamoeba under unfavorable condition, Even the trypanosoma, these are the some important, the protozoans under unfavorable condition, they shows multiple fission. If you consider difference between binary fission and multiple fission, in binary fission, single parental cell divides to give two daughter cells, whereas here single parental cell divides to give many daughter cells. Hence, it is we call binary fission, that one multiple fission. Then always binary fission is take place under favorable condition. It is the best mode of reproduction, mainly in case of unicellular organisms, whereas it takes place under unfavorable condition. Then another most important difference is generally during binary fission, both nuclear division we called the karyokinesis and cytoplasmic division we called the cytokinesis takes place simultaneously as we see in normal mitosis. But in case of multiple fission, nuclear division followed by a cytoplasmic division. That means first nuclear division is take place, many nuclei are formed, after that cytoplasmic division will be completed. Then the cells of a binary fission showing organisms never generally shows any residue. It is after multiple fission there is some residual material remain in a parental cell that may not seen in case of binary fission. Those organisms shows binary fission mainly immortal, means never leads into death. It's because the single parental cell without death divides into two daughter cells here. Whereas in case of multiple fission showing organisms, the parental cell leads into death after the cell division. There is a little bit confusion. Most of the unicellular organisms, mainly you take bacteria, then paramecium, euglena, then amoeba. These organisms under favorable condition very rapidly divides into two by binary fission. Suppose you take most of the bacteria, every 20 minutes divides into two by binary fission. Whereas multiple fission we seen even unicellular organism itself, but it is only under unfavorable condition, under a threat situation, like we seen in case of plasmodium, then even in case of ant amoeba, then trypanosoma. These are the some protozoans showing multiple fission. Another mode of asexual reproduction is gemmules formation, or we may call it as a gemmules formation. We seen in case of freshwater sponges. As we know, during summer most of the freshwater bodies dries up. Like that, even in freshwater sponges also, especially after a drying of that freshwater bodies, some specialized cells are store the reserve potential and they covered by some calcium carbonate cyst. And this cyst or shell or cyst we call, it is made up of calcium carbonate and it protects the specialized cells which are preserved before summer. And these reproductive bodies we call gemmules or gimmules we say. Then once monsoon month onset, freshwater bodies filled with water. At that time, this calcium carbonate cyst is dissolved and gemmules emerge from the coating, and a single gemmule may become one separate sponge. It is one of the asexual mode of reproduction, helps to escape under a severe summer condition in case of most of the freshwater sponges like spongilla, then bath sponge, euspongia. When you consider binary fission, it is the multiplication of single parental cell into two daughter cells. For example, amoeba, it shows simple binary fission, whereas Euglena and Verticella longitudinally split into two, hence they shows longitudinal binary fission. Ceratium, they shows oblique binary fission. The example like Paramecium, bacteria, they divide transverse binary fission. When you go through the general slide where the simultaneously both nuclear division as well as cytoplasmic division is take place during binary fission. As a result, we get two pairs. It is the slide showing how the bacteria divides by binary fission and form a colony of a or mass of a bacteria under culture. Same slide, and it is a slide once again showing how bacteria multiplies under favorable condition into two. It is of what? Paramecium, how shows binary fission. Then it is one of the wonderful slide where under electron microscope how actually the two cells are separated and cytoplasmic division is takes place. Then same Euglena, bacterial binary fission. Then it's a general the slide which shows how single parental cell undergo multiplication repeatedly by binary fission by simple mitosis process. How in amoeba binary fission is take place, it is of Paramecium. Then another mode of reproduction, that is multiple fission, where single parental cell ability to produce many young daughter cells or young one, that itself what we call multiple fission. Here nucleus divides first into many nuclei, then cytoplasmic division is take place. That cytoplasmic division is once again according to number of nuclei, how much they divide, equally cytoplasmic division is take place. We see a specialized protozoans, Plasmodium, amoeba, monocystis, they shows multiple fission under favorable, unfavorable condition. Then there are some specialized unicellular organisms where during multiple fission they form a covering around their body and form spores. That process we call encystation. This is the slide which showing how single a parental cell divides into many nuclei. In first slide only one nucleus is there. In second diagram the two nuclear form, next one 4, then 8. After that cytoplasmic division is take place. The same slides, all these are the slides of multiple fission. In such a way, under favorable condition, a multiple fission is take place.